Everybody, Malinka here, and I am finished with the novel The Slynx by Tatyana Tolstaya, or Kys, how it is in Russian. I read both versions because I was so curious to see the translation and the original text, even though I don't normally read in Russian. So it was such a nice experience for me, but it took so long. It took the whole week for me to read both books and to compare and to make some points of how the original is compared to the translation. So I will get right into it. First of all, I do not read dystopian, post-apocalyptic, zombies. I don't read those. I don't know why. I just feel that they are so divorced from reality. I am trying to read more non-fiction. This is what I like. And it was not the International Reads book club, I wouldn't have picked up this book. But now I'm happy that I did. It was an interesting read for me, and this book was unpredictable. And this is what I love in books. I really love it. So first, I have to say that this video is going to contain spoilers, so if you didn't finish it, pause it, finish it, and then come back. I would like to speak about the story. It's a post-apocalyptic novel, so the story starts 200 years after a blast, after a nuclear explosion, and it's located in former Moscow, Russia, and that small city now it's called Fyodor Kuzmich, which is, sorry I wrote it down because there are way too many names. Fyodor Kuzmich is the name of the biggest ruler, which is called the Big Murza. So the story follows this very normal guy, Benedict, and his life, and initially he is a normal galupchik, and galupchik is the definition of just a simple citizen. It has nothing special. He had no position in the society, so he was working in the writing section. He was copying I don't know, laws and books, and his life starts to turn around on the celebration of Women's Day, when he proposes to Olenka. She is a co-worker and he really likes her, and out of the blue he has like impulsive proposal and they decide to get married. So basically Benedict's life changes after his wedding. He changes his ways. He doesn't go to work anymore. All he does is stay in the house, eating as much as possible. This is a Russian habit, I have to say. Parents, especially mothers, saying eat some more, you have to be healthy. And he discovered that his father-in-law has a huge library. So until then, people and normal people, galupchiki, thought that books have a disease and you can get radiation from it and you can die. So he discovers that books are safe, and he starts reading like crazy, and he reads all the time for like 1 year with no stopping, no pausing. He forgot to love his wife, and he forgot to do whatever a normal person does. After he finishes to read the whole library, he understands that he's obsessed with reading, and he calls it art and culture, and he does not want to do anything else besides reading. So he starts chasing people that he suspects that they have books, old books, old printed, and his father-in-law uses this obsession to help him to kill Fyodor Kuzmich, which was the Big Murza, and to take over the state, this very small city. So basically Benedict is being used. At the end he even turns his most dearest person to his father-in-law, and that person is burned. Should I say the ending? I feel like I should at least leave the ending as a surprise, because it was a huge surprise. Okay, I will leave the ending. I will not say how the book ended. It was quite a surprise. Basically the whole book was full of surprises. It was so random, it was so unexpected, so even the ending is completely unrelated and a news. So that was the story. First of all, I wrote some things down. Let's speak about the translation. So I read the English version in electronic form. I found it on Scribd. You can search it, you can find it too. And I know that it's very difficult to translate a book which is written not in the formal language, because this book is written in a more friendly, colloquial, lingo-ish style. It's not formal Russian. It has a lot of misspelling on purpose, and I feel like it's even more difficult to translate it. And I saw that the translator used the safest translation method, which is to leave a lot of words that have a special meaning, to leave it in the initial language, and just explain it either at the beginning, either in the footnotes, and leave it so that the writer will feel more of the culture of the original language. Each chapter starts with the letter of the alphabet, but also it has a word which gives an idea what is going to be in the chapter. So if it's D, dobro means a good life, and it's described about the good life. Or if it's about it's the letter E, it's jest, means it describes how they were eating, how is the soup made by the state compared to the one that is made by you, and so on and so forth. So it's basically related to this, and I feel like the author could have written not only the word in Russian but also a translation, so people will see already that it's something related to the name. Second, it was not translated Golubchik, and I don't know, I feel like it should have been more. It's translated at the beginning of the English version, and it says my dear or darling, and it's true, that's what it means, but I don't know. And again, big Murza, small Murza. Murza means an aristocratic title which was given by some by two territories which were conquered by Russian people. So if they were from Tatarstan or Uzbekistan, or they were conquered by Russians, and Murza was the name of the local aristocrats. So they could have explained it at the beginning. The original, compared to the translation, felt to me a bit more violent, a bit more rough. There were a lot more cursing words in here than in the translation, which I only saw 2 SOBs. And here it is a bit more, it's not as violent, but it's present. Also, the attitude towards women, in the English version I felt that it's more respectful. In here, women are addressed as chicks, or, you know, I don't know the English term for baba, but it's like chick, shouty, or I don't know. Russian spirit was lost in the translation, I would say, when the translator decided to replace some of the poems, some of the songs, the Christmas caroling. They just replaced it with something that sounds more English, instead of because I saw that some of the songs mentioned I Want to Hold Your Hand, really. Here it was a Million Rose, which is everybody would recognize this. Think about the characters. Benedict annoyed me so much. Oh, Benedict Karpich, such a blind idiot. Oh, but then at the same time, he was born after the civilization. He wasn't that educated. His mom felt like left him to decide for himself instead of guiding him to the right direction. And I felt like all the oldeners, people that were before the blast, they didn't take the time to educate the new people, just because they felt that they were so many and they called them hooligans, and that's it. They tried to educate them by just talking about the past all the time. Out of all the characters, my favorite was Nikita Ivanich. He's one of the older people who didn't die after the blast. He is such a nice old man, and he's trying to help Benedict, and he discovers that Benedict has a tail and cuts the tail off, and he is the one surviving all the crazy measurements of the new government, and I really liked him, and I appreciate that he takes the time to educate Benedict. I was thinking about it the whole day, and of course I understand it's a satire, like a parody of how government works, how any totalitarian political regime works. It's always the same. You take the basic freedom of people, you take the basic liberties, and you just treat them like crap, and it's basically the same. So it's just a parody of any communist, Nazi, it doesn't matter which one. And it shows how tough it is to live in that kind of sick society where there is no knowledge of the past, nobody's trying to develop anything, nobody's trying to teach, to educate. It's just a survival and just sick society where the government only thinks about himself and there's no development. I felt like it's only, how's it called, progress, regress, it's only regress and going back to the animal instinct. I feel like I'm missing so many points. I should have wrote it down, but at some point I just gave up. I really wanted to enjoy the book and not analyze every single word and every single comma and how it's translated and how it's not and how it represents the Russian culture at the time or I don't know. I'm really impressed by this. I'm happy that I read it. I'm proud of myself that I read a post-apocalyptic novel. I was surprised by how God was mentioned a lot of times, and it was not mentioned as somebody religious saying this to calm themselves. It was just mentioned as if they're already used to it. You know how you say knock on wood? That was just the way God was mentioned. It was also funny to see that. But I'm sure there are a lot of hundreds of other details that I cannot mention now, but they were present in the book. And it was a good experiment, but I didn't want to transform it into a dissertation or research. I just enjoyed the two books. About the name, the Slynx, in Russian kys. So kys is a combination of several words. It's kiss, krys, brys, Rus, all that combined together. So it would mean like a kiss, it's how you call a small cat. Brys, it's lynx, and Rus, it's Russia. So it's a whole combination all in one. And it's really strange because Chris, it's like this mystical creature which Benedict is fearing so much. But at the same time, in the book, I felt like it's its own interior demon. It's its own fear that something is happening to him, or his non-confidence or self-esteem or something, because the actual Slynx does not exist. Nobody else saw it. It's just Benedict and his fear. So I felt like this is a metaphor for his interior demon. I don't know. Let me know, what did you think about the book? Have you read it? If you're part of the International Reads Club, let me know if you liked it or loved it or hated it. I don't know. And if you're Russian, let me know if you read it and if you loved it, because I read some reviews and it seems like the audience, the public, didn't receive this book so well, but the critics who are more aware of the literary, I don't know, tendencies or whatever, appreciate this book so much, and I can understand them, because if you think about how many dystopians or post-apocalyptic novels are written around the world, Russia had to catch up and deliver its own masterpiece in post-apocalyptic. So I also appreciate it. All in all, I really liked it. I gave it 4 stars on Goodreads, and I hope to find new books such as this one to be so unpredictable and crazy. Thank you all, and let me know your thoughts. Bye!